coming at you right here from Solana Beach, California. And we have had a beautiful weekend. We started by appointment only, bringing folks into the gallery, and that's been really nice to reconnect with people. Of course, we are wearing our masks and we are social distancing. But I hope you folks had a great weekend. I know that everybody is slowly venturing out. A couple of the restaurants I know are doing kind of like a sidewalk cafe type thing. Again, social distancing. There's a few breweries that are having a little bit of a beer garden here on Cedro. So lots of exciting things I think are going to be taking place in the next couple weeks as we see the governor opening up the next stages so that we're all able to really assimilate easily and safely back into the society as we know it. Cross our fingers. So I'm really so pleased today because I felt like it was one of those days that I'm finally getting an artist into the gallery. And I have that artist here today. He's going to walk through and show us some of his most recent works. But I'm especially pleased with, you know, the response of you folks and the desire. Our phone has actually been ringing off the hook with people who want to come in and see us. So if you're one of those, just let us know. We're setting up kind of appointments. So you have the gallery to yourself, which is a very special thing. So the person that I'm bringing in today is one of your favorite artists, and that is Paul Lotz. We were able to see him in his home about 2-3 weeks ago, live streaming from his garden, where he was showing us the process of his sculpture, showing us some of the clays, the things that he had been working on, which is always wonderful to see the backside of an artist creating. But what's equally special is to see the actual finished artwork. And what we have in the gallery is a beautiful display of his sculptures. So I'm going to bring Paul in. We're going to practice social distancing. I'm going to put my mask on here and I'm going to walk over. So just give me a second because I've got to put my mask on. And I'm going to be getting more of these masks. My mom actually made this mask for me. So let me put this on. It's a little strange talking through the mask, a little muffled here. And then I'm going to walk over to the sculpture garden. See if I can get my mask on. Okay, there we go. So just give me a second. I'm going to bring Paul up in the stream here. And there's Paul.
Hello.
Hopefully everybody can see you, and I'm going to hide my screen.
I'm smiling, actually.
Perfect. I'm going to come back around here.
You have your mask, and I have the one I've designed.
Yes, everyone, Paul Lotz. We're 6. I think we're 6 feet apart. I don't know. We're not touching. We're not touching. But this is Paul's sculpture garden here, and I'm going to go ahead and give Paul the floor so that he can take off his mask and actually talk to you folks and share these beautiful sculptures here with you. So, Paul, it's all yours there.
Okay, I'll take off my self-designed mask, something I just doodled. Had a mask made for me, but you play around with markers and things like that. It's fun. But what a pleasure it is to be in the gallery, especially this gallery, beautiful gallery. I wish you all could just walk around and see it, but I'm hogging the time today. It's great to be on this show. Ruth-Ann, you have done such an amazing job putting this whole thing together. I'm glad to be back, and I was able this week to come in and show you some of the works that I've done personally, get a little closer to them, and I guess we can start right here. This is one of my more popular pieces called Dr. Livingstone, I presume, which you got to see a little of before, but was a little difficult. But this is one of my 3 explorer pieces. I did different explorers. I feel that their endings and their history in life needed to be represented. Some of them had tragic endings to their life, and this guy was one of them, but you know, what's a better way than to make it fun? So this is Dr. Livingstone in his afterlife with Otto the ostrich, who came upon him and gathered up his belongings to help him keep in search of the Nile River. So even over here, we have, he has his mantle clock, like a good British guy would. He has his dog with him, the Bible with the sacramental wine, of course, and what explorer wouldn't be fulfilled without his box of chickens? Don't ask me why.
Paul, maybe share with the folks a little bit about how much detail went into this, because I think of all of the pieces, well, they're all that way, you have so much fine detail with the high polishing, with the different patinas, just with all, and I think you cast these in pieces, didn't you, and put them together?
Yeah, this is actually 26 different pieces, whether it's cutting the head off, molding it separately, welding it back in the end. All of these little individual pieces that you find are all separately molded and welded on after the fact. So in a sense, each piece is a one of a kind, because they're not always perfectly placed in the right spot. The patina, which I love this portion of it, the different colorings, it's kind of like a painting all of its own. And, just the detail. And with every patina, it has, since it's made with chemicals, they're all a little different. I just make sure that I love the piece and try and keep it to its state that they all are in, but they're all going to have slight differences. And this particular piece has gotten great response from people. I do write stories about each of the pieces, but yet I love asking people, what do you think of this piece? What's the story you get from this? And it's incredible hearing what everyone has to say about it. I try using high polishes, slightly brushed colorings of the natural bronze, and adding in darks and lights to each of the patinas just to create it like a painting. And I do that. I also use a lot of color in my works. You'll see a couple of pieces that I have in the back. Back there is called Succumb. It has reds. In the shelf here, I have a menagerie of pieces that, some just require that little touch of color. I think it adds a bit to it, but the natural browns and the bronzes, I think, really enrich everything.
I think the one that I personally have felt was one of the most incredible pieces I've ever seen is your chess piece. Because I don't think that most people know that those were separate and then you brought them together and they all had to fit. But just the bricks alone are amazing. I mean, really.
Let's take a look at it. So this piece is called Checkmate. And what I did, it's a board game, but I wanted to go beyond the board game and show this piece as a battle of chess, where you have the king being beaten by the queen. And she's this sexy temptress. And he's this king who's being beaten. We have the bishop, who has 4 arms, one holding his rosary, the other 2 hands reaching out to his constituents, but yet in the background he has the hand going to stab him, because we all know where that can go. But he is actually battling with the knight, the brave knight who is going to battle him, but he's being taunted by one of the pawns. And the pawn here was ripping on his tail and about to slap him with a horse prod. But he's being diversed to the other 2 pawns who are, he's picking her up and taking her away. Then all the way on the other side, we have the rook. Now, if you know chess, when the rook and the king switch places, it becomes the castle. So ultimately, we have this big castle. And when I created this piece, it is actually in 6 different pieces. Every chess piece has its own section of the castle, and they all come together like a puzzle. Chess has been shown in every different culture, but all have the same meaning: politics, religion, blue collar, white collar, fighting, peace, love. And this is what I tried to capture in this whole piece. And as you can see, the king is, although being ripped by the queen, he's kind of curious about it. It's just a whole different weird battle of chess. But again, using the different patinas, the darks, the lights, the high polishes. It really is just a fun piece, which took me about a year to sculpt and a good 4 months to actually bronze. And although it weighs about 250 pounds, I think it just shows off a great story.
That's an incredible masterpiece. And I also like the fact that there's some adult themes in this piece, if you really get to look at it, which is really makes it a little bit more edgy.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I like is you go from that to something like this piece, Bedtime Stories, where it's just very childlike and very whimsical, in its approach.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm inspired by so many different things from my growing up. Yes, I played chess, but like the nursery rhymes and stories. This one is, called Counting Sheep, which there really is no story, but you understand the concept that when your kids are going to sleep, the sheep are going to be leaping over them and to be counted so they can sleep. But in this case, it's a little different. The story that I wrote, maybe I should realign from.
That'd be great.
Okay, give me 1 second. Look at the book.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. Just so you know, folks, I'm over here practicing social distancing. I'm at least 6 or 12 or longer feet away. You need your glasses.
Yeah. Sculpting has destroyed my eyes. I don't have one, but I'll make it happen. So I have actually a new book that I've put out. With all my pieces, I actually write little stories. And they're fables, they rhyme, but they're not necessarily children. For children, not really bad. They're just something that I think people would understand a little bit more, adults. So in this one, the story is, the day is done, the night has gone, or come, it's time to go to sleep. The sun is down, the moon is up, but where are all the sheep? The little lambs are dreaming to be counted 1, 2, 3. Oh, Father Moon, please wake them up. It's time, you must agree. My children need their rest. They've had a busy day of play. Now, Mom and Dad deserve some time. That's all I ask, I pray. So it's really just the parents wanting time on themselves and put my children to sleep, please. So I just made something a little fun and different for that. But of course, there's always a black sheep in the family, so I had to add that too.
So Paul, why don't you share with the folks of all of the sculptures that we have right now, including, we've got to talk about the Barrel of Monkeys.
Of course.
But what do you think has been really the piece that you spent a lot of time really having to come up with the concept and then making it work? Because you're so creative, but the way that it's not just the fact that the stories are great and you're an incredible sculptor, it's that you're really bringing in some unique things that other sculptors have never done, like Barrel of Monkeys, like the chess piece. You're incorporating almost like a architectural style because you're able to make things work that nobody has really figured that out before.
Well, I think a lot of what I've done, although I did go to art school and have my bachelor's degree in fine art, I did not study bronze. It was not something that my college offered. And so everything I've done, I've learned on my own. I had started with ceramic clay doing figures. Of course, all the detail was so difficult, they would wind up breaking. So somebody said, well, why not try bronze? So I picked up some clay and started just working with it to see what I could do. And truly my first real piece of the whimsical nature was the Surely You Jest. And secondly was Cirque De Lune, which I would say, to answer your question, is probably one of the beginning challenging pieces I built. Again, a story came from it, where the moon looked very alone up in the sky. There were these 3 poor entertainers, the acrobat, the puppeteer, and the magician. And they looked up in the sky one night and saw the moon so glum, and threw this cloth up to him and climbed up to try and make him happy. And never did I think that I could do a piece like this. It actually started as a tabletop piece, but I kept building up and figuring out how to make this piece work. And ultimately, the moon in the story was just like, leave me alone, go away. But they were true entertainers that didn't want to give up and did everything that they could to make this guy happy. And it really is kind of a theory in life. No matter what you have in life, whether you have everything or nothing, you do what's in your heart. And in their heart, it was to make him happy. And that's what we all should be learning by. But the creation of it was a challenge. And when I found out that, yes, this foundry could make this piece for me, I worked with them for months, and there it is.
It's a true statement piece. And why don't you show us these monkeys? Because those are so fun, and I know you added new ones.
Well, this is called What's More Fun. And it's something that I started creating and wasn't really sure if people would like this. So I put it on the shelf for 4 years. And each piece is individual. But again, it was something about, I wanted something for the wall. And a barrel of monkeys was a great thing to play with. And this is also playful. You can actually take each monkey off, hang it however you wish, upside down, backwards, sideways, whatever floats your boat. And it just seemed to really take off. People have had a great response to them.
People love it.
They do. And I'm currently working on the bottom monkey, which I believe, I guess I can say it, it's going to be about hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. And it'll be called No Fun. And it'll be on the bottom. And you can get as many monkeys as you like. And they can be colored. You see here, I added in a little bit of color on some of them, as opposed to the natural bronze, just to be more playful. And it's however you want to order them. If you like the color, I add color. I customize it to however you like it. But the thing is, I just make sure you play with it. And when your guests come into your house, they play with it.
I like the fact that you don't take life super seriously.
You
see
can't.
it in your artwork, and it's really something that I think we all escape through your sculpture.
And you know what, Ruth-Ann, I did start off in a classical style in bronze with figures, and they were pretty. But to see people's reactions when they look at my stuff, they smile. They're inside. It stops them, and they have to figure out what it really is and hear a story in their own mind. And the fact that they can play with it, I think, makes it even better. People need to be happy, especially in these days. And the pieces that I'm working on, hopefully, will continue with that trend.
And I like the series. So, you kind of have these whimsical, but then you have this adventurers.
Yeah.
That you just showed us the one.
Right.
Can you show us the other two that is
Sure.
part of that same series?
Come on. So it was really a basis of explorers of land, sea, and air. And you saw Dr. Livingstone, he's land. This is sea, which is kind of my tribute to Jacques Cousteau. He didn't have a sad ending in life, but it did end. But what he brought to all of us was a new wonder of something that was never really looked at through television of under the sea. So my tribute to him was to him and his boat, Calypso. So this is my version of his afterlife animal, being Calypso. And he has all these little creatures tagging along for the ride. He's got his packages. He has his air tank. He's got a bottle of wine, because he's French. And little mouse with eating cheese. Just, okay, they don't go underwater, but it's fun. The seahorse. Even down, and he's got his compass here. We have fish down here. We have starfish. It was just a tribute to what this great man did for us. I believed he was just a wonderful guy and showed me a whole lot. The other piece that I did would have been the Explorer of Air. And for air, I did Amelia Earhart. She did have a tragic ending to her life. It was a mystery. No one really knew what happened to her. And during the creation of this, I saw a documentary that they did find out what happened to her, and it was ugly. But again, In her afterlife, this wonderful pelican found her on the beach with all of her belongings, her little monkey, her pet cat. They grabbed the propeller of the plane, which I would high polish. And, you know, the monkey, he fishes on the back of the pelican to keep feeding the pelican fish. The cat holds his eyes open so he can perpetually, throughout her afterlife, fly the seas in her glory and makes her just so happy.
That's an amazing piece.
Thanks.
Beautiful. And last but not least, I thought you should show the piece that we sell probably more than any other piece, almost on a daily basis when we're open, and that is the...
Succumb?
Not succumb.
The frog. Yes, the frog prints. The frog prints. So in here we have a collection of a bunch of little pieces I did. Again, this one was the Surely You Jest, which was my first piece that I did of this nature. And over here is the frog prince. And I believe when on my other broadcast I read that story, and just so I don't look like a fool squinting into the book, it's really about the love and passion that he has for this other person. And he has nothing much in life to offer but a pearl. And people have bought this many times and placed a ring on here to be engaged to their partner. They use this as their engagement tool. And he's just this fun little frog prince, because we're all princes in our own right. And, well, but sometimes you have to be proven. And he's a frog. But with this frog, when you take it, it becomes your prince.
That's it. That's a beautiful. That's probably one of the, daily people just come in because, it's so iconic.
Yeah.
And all of your small pieces are wonderful especially if you don't have a lot of room. People run out of space. These are great.
Two very popular ones as well up here. This is kind of my tribute to Marilyn Monroe, if you don't already see that, but this piece is called How Coy, because she is this beautiful sultry fish, and over here we have this cute little blowfish who is madly in love with her, and she thinks he can't do much for her, and she turns to walk away, and all of a sudden this gust of wind comes up, and she's like, well, don't you know? Blowfish blow.
I love these, Paul. They're amazing. And so what's the next piece that you're working on? I know we saw it in your garden.
Yeah. Right now, I've had a few people ask me about that bottom barrel, or the monkey for the barrel.
Okay.
And so I'm really focusing to get this right. I've done a few renditions. I'm not perfectly pleased, so I'm just redoing this piece, but I think within the next 2 months it'll be out. And all the people that have this piece will hopefully love to have the bottom of the barrel. And if not, it also is a piece on its own. He or she speak no evil. It'll just be able to hang however you need it.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Should be fun. But again, it's so wonderful to be in this gallery. You've seen some of Daniel Ryan's paintings behind me here. He is an inspiring guy to me too. I love working with animals, as does he. And just so many of the people in this gallery, Michael Floor, Gloria Lee, Dr. Seuss.
Well, now that you mentioned that, maybe I should just do a real quick walkthrough.
Please.
Since we're the only ones here, let's do that.
Yeah.
So why don't I take everybody, thank you so much, Paul, for sharing all of your beautiful work with us. I mean, that's the one thing I'd say, folks, about being a gallery owner is that I get to work with these incredibly talented folks, and I never, ever grow tired of it. It's really, I have to kind of pinch myself on occasion because, again, this is history in the making. But take a look through here, since we're the only ones here. Some of you have been here. I'm going to just give a little peek outside to our sculpture garden. And one thing that's really good news is we do have people buying art from us, so those are on their way to be shipped out. This is our Lyman Whitaker sculpture area. Our wind sculptures are a really big hit here. So for those of you who haven't been to our gallery, this is what you get to see when you first come in. It's a little overcast today, but on a beautiful day, I'll sit out here and have my lunch with my next door neighbor who has this really cool clothing store, and then I'll just sit here and take in the wind sculptures. I love outdoor sculpture. I think this was one of the reasons why we moved here, was so that we would have an opportunity to have a sculpture garden. But step on in. You'll see when you come in, we have our sanitizers we'll put here, so we are being very safe. And then our Dr. Seuss, this is a really important artist here for us, specifically in San Diego, because Theodore Geisel was a resident of La Jolla for many years, and he gave back to the community in so many different ways, besides, obviously, his work touching the lives of the entire world. So he's probably one of the most recognized American icons as far as children's book, but also his art. What you're seeing here is what we call the secret art of Dr. Seuss. So these were actually paintings that he did when he just got home and he was done with his day's work of doing the illustrations and writing books. And we have some more of his pieces here. And I'm going to just kind of walk you through. You can see our studio. Now you're going to get behind the scenes of what you've been watching every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, our little streaming studio here. So got our lights set up. There's the computer. And of course, Michael Floor's work. You can see Michael over here. We have a very nice display of Michael's work. And I think we're always trying to change it up. So this is what we have right now. When you come into the gallery on any particular day, it may be completely different because we're bringing in new artwork. Then we come through to the sculpture area that you just saw where Paul was live streaming from. And the other thing I really love about this gallery, those are Ruth-Ann Thorn, another amazing artist who passed away at 94 years old. Lewitt was one of the most important wildlife sculptors. He really was the one who pushed forward the whole idea of recognizing species that were on the verge of extinction, and he took the time to really chronicle those in his bronze work. We can't get very many of these because he did pass away. These are all pieces that he left with his folks so that we can still get a few of them. But they're just so elegant, and I love the faces and the high polish. You know, everything is just, it's timeless, this work. And my mom and I got to meet him one time, and that was a real treat. And then these are our glass pieces. You guys met Tom or Rose last time. I don't think you got to see some of the finalized pieces, but this is Tom's work. And we're just going to give you a little sampling today. We won't go through everything because the gallery is actually quite large. So there's a lot to be seen here. This is Paul Lotz, the Sculpture Garden. We also have another sculptor, Dana Lopez, who I was speaking to last night. He's going to come on the show pretty soon. You'll notice that Paul has a very distinct patina, and so does Nano. And although the beginnings of the sculpture start out pretty similar as far as the technique of using clay to sculpt in, when it comes to the bronze, that's usually where the signature of that artist comes through with the colors that they choose to patina. This is another artist we're going to have on pretty soon, and that's David White. And David is the world's most famous wave glass blower. And these folks are no joke. These are really, really tricky. It took him 20 years to perfect these. And then behind you, we're featuring a new artist. So we do bring new artists into the gallery. This is a little bit more contemporary. This artist is a photographer who takes many, many layers of photos and then brings them together, and then he creates a collage that he puts, and these are on a brushed aluminum. So very modern, really very peaceful. So this is something new we're trying out. And then I'll just give you a real quick scan. Here's my mom's work. You probably remember we did an Art of the City on her new urban cityscapes. These are her florals back here. And then there's some new artists in the back too here. So I'm gonna stop there because I want you guys to come in and see this artwork with your own eyes. Seeing it with the camera is wonderful, but seeing it in person is really where you get the fullest feeling of what these artists are trying to bring across. So I'm going to go back to my desk, and we're going to go ahead and close out the show. But this has been a little bit different. The first time we got to get up and move around a little bit. I'm hoping that you've enjoyed it. And the first time we've had an artist in the gallery for, my gosh, I'd say almost 10 weeks. So this has been a really fun day for me to just even have an artist here in the gallery. So let me go back to my desk. I'm going to switch over and I'll give you the lineup of what's coming up.
Still social distancing.
That's right, still social distancing. Okay, let's see here. Well, that was fun. A little walk around the gallery, something different. And that was totally impromptu, folks. We didn't really plan on that, but it was so great. Paul's over here in his mask now. And, you know, so glad to have you, Paul.
It was absolutely incredible to be here again. Love this gallery, always have.
So really
sculpting.
Yep, and the next time you'll see Paul, he'll be in the gallery sculpting. So we're definitely planning a show for him. We still have plans for our Michael Floor show, folks, so cross your fingers that we're able to pull that off. That's going to be, I believe, the 22nd of June. I'll confirm that weekend of the 20th. And then again, our big 25-year anniversary show in July on July 25th. So you can't miss that. The rest of the week on Wednesday, we're going to have Dale Evers live streaming from San Luis Obispo. Dale is a really interesting artist that combines both metal and glass. And so we'll be able to see his work. He's very famous. And then on Friday, we have an artist coming out of Las Vegas, and that's Tom Madro. Tom has been painting for many, many years. His own gallery was on the North Shore of Hawaii for many years before he moved to Vegas. And he's got an incredible range of work. So we're going to be able to see that. So we decided let's just keep live streaming Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here, 1 p.m., Art of the City, live streaming from Facebook. Just because I feel like it's important. We haven't really gotten the complete green light. And I have so many artists reaching out. I think it's important that we just keep supporting the artists that are still stuck at home like the rest of us. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. And I'll see you on Wednesday here, 1 p.m. Again, if you wouldn't mind sharing this platform with others, you just go on to this and just share it onto your page. Let your friends know, because these artists really need our support right now. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you on Wednesday.